This story happened in 1955 in the English countryside. I was about 20 years old. My mother had died when I was a child, and I was raised by my father, William Clinton. My name was Tony Clinton. We lived in Cambridge, in a 2-story house, comfortably enough. Later, when I turned 17, my father passed away. I graduated from Cambridge Medical University at his insistence, since my mother wanted me to pursue medicine. When I turned 20, I was sent to a small village called Grayford. The locals needed help. People often fell ill, and children died from a lack of clean water. There was no way back for me. I was placed in the house of an elderly man who barely spoke. They said he had lost his wife and child, which explained his silence. I didn't pay much attention. There were rumors in the village about a creature that attacked people and dragged them into a dark forest at the edge of the village, only about 300 meters away. People feared the place but could not avoid it, as the river there was the village's only source of water. I was not superstitious. I thought it was just wolves. One morning, after finishing my work, I stumbled upon an old legend in the archives about a creature called Crine, named after Grayford, where it lived. The legend told of a young man named Martin. He had no father, and his mother died giving birth to him. An old woman named Kayla took him in, as she had no children of her own. Martin grew up withdrawn and rarely spoke to anyone. Kayla raised sheep, and Martin had to tend them. One evening, while he was out at the pasture near the forest by the river, the sheep returned without him. Kayla went to check and found one sheep covered in blood, not its own, and then found Martin barely alive. She dragged him home. After that, Martin became even more reclusive. He often ventured into the dark forest and returned carrying strange things. His eyes shone with anger and a thirst for death. No one knew what had happened to him. When Kayla died, Martin disappeared, and Crine appeared in the forest. No one could describe it. Anyone who saw it vanished. They said when the forest was empty, Crine hunted humans. I was fascinated, but I didn't take the story seriously. Life went on. I tended the sick, gave out medicine. Occasionally, people went missing by the river, but I assumed accidents. One day, a villager named Jacob went to fetch water and fell into a pit dug for trapping animals. He was badly hurt, and I, as the only doctor, had to go to him despite the rain and foul weather. After giving him first aid and guiding him back to the village, I heard the crackling of branches at the forest edge. A shadow flickered. I followed it into the woods. The forest was dense, branches snagged my clothes, yet my legs seemed to move on their own. Finally, I reached the spot where I expected the creature to be. I crouched in the bushes, and there it was. The creature was covered in grey, shaggy fur. Its jaws could swallow a 10-year-old child in one bite. It stood on its hind legs, leaning its forelegs against a tree. Its long tail brushed the ground. I knew it was Crine. Foam dripped from its mouth. It seemed to be catching its breath. I was frozen in shock, unable to move. The creature advanced slowly, carefully, silently. Only the crackle of branches and its heavy breathing could be heard. I was terrified, yet powerless. Its gaze paralyzed me. My arms and legs refused to obey. I just sat there, staring into its eyes, deep, filled with hatred and darkness. Yet there was something human hidden deep within, though its thirst for flesh and death consumed it. I thought, is this real? What made it this way? The creature approached, and I could not move. Every step was deliberate and slow. I felt as though I was standing on the edge of life and death. Though I knew this was no ordinary animal, fear and dread completely overtook me. My life, the entire village, anyone nearby could fall victim to crime if caught in its sight. That was the end of my first encounter with crime. But I knew it was only the beginning. From that day on, every trip to the forest, every journey to fetch water, every evening in the village reminded me that evil, born of a curse, exists, and it is always near.